There's something in you. It says that you're not sitting back waiting to see what politicians will do for you. There's something in you that says, I'm not going to focus on the general economy. I'm going to focus on my personal economy. There's something in you that says the most dependable hand in the world is the one at the end of your risk. There's something in you that says always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. You are different. You have greatness within you. Dr. Howard Thurman, come forth. Here's a man that after having 238 radiation seed implants, and my PSA continued to increase. In fact, last year this time it was over 1,500, and the little C cancer had eaten 40% of my T1 vertebrae. And I was reading his words that night after leaving Florida Hospital, and doctors had told me that cancer had reappeared, had metastasized in 8 areas of my body. And I began to laugh as the doctor spoke to me, and he was looking real serious. He said, "Why are you laughing?" I said, "I feel like Mother Teresa." He said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I wish you didn't have so much confidence in me." And now my PSA is 0.0. I'm debt-free, cancer-free. Yes, indeed. I stand before you because of God's grace and mercy. And trust me, it's better to be seen than to be viewed. But Dr. Thurman was called upon by Dr. Martin Luther King Sr. He said, "Howard, I want you to mentor my boy, MLK." He was a member of an elite group of orators and mystics and philosophers in his day. He was an advisor to Mahatma Gandhi and to Abbott Schweitzer. He wrote, "Deep is the hunger, the voice of the genuine, the centering moment." He wrote some words that I was reading around 3 o'clock in the morning that grabbed me. He said, "The ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over." He said, "But imagine being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the talents given to you by life, and you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never used those talents. You never used those gifts. You never used those abilities. And there they are standing around your bed looking at you with large angry eyes saying, 'We came to you, and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever.' And the question is, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what books, what leadership, what voice, what story will die with you?" Miles Monroe, great speaker out of the Bahamas, said the wealthiest place on the planet, it's not in the Far East where there's oil in the ground. It's not in South Africa where there are diamond mines. He said the wealthiest place on the planet is there you'll find potential never realized. There you'll find books never written. There you'll find abilities and skills and talents and gifts the world never had exposure to. Maybe that's why Henry David Thoreau asked in a moment of anguish, what if you live your whole life only to discover that it was wrong? That it was wrong. God had so much more in mind for you. Maybe that's why he said, oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived. Only to realize that you've never scraped the surface of your potential. Everybody let us say together, live full, die empty. And the people in this room have decided to live full. The people in this room have decided to die empty. The people in this room have decided to live life on their terms and not to be a volunteer victim. When you say yes to this industry, You're saying yes for a bigger life. You're saying yes, I'm tired of playing small. You're saying yes, I'm ready to be empowered to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. You're saying yes to providing for yourself and your family. There's something that's in you that says, I'm not mentally fit to work for somebody for the rest of my life. You're saying yes to your life, yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future. Give yourselves a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause. I didn't do this for years. I would go in the balcony of auditoriums and watch Jim Rohn and Dr. Dennis Waitley and Zig Ziglar. And my heart would beat so fast because I love helping people. How many of you love helping people? Raise your hands. I love helping people. And my heart said, I can do that. But then when I would leave there, and as I was walking to the car, my mental conditioning began to speak. And it would say, Les Brown, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les Brown, you can't do that. What makes you think that you have something to say that somebody would listen to you? Les Brown, you can't do that. What makes you think that you can speak for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, IBM? You've never worked for a major corporation. Les Brown, you can't do that. You were adopted. You don't even know who your parents are. How many of you ever thought about something you wanted to do? You felt it in your heart, and then your mind talked you out of it. Raise your hands, please. I convinced myself that I couldn't do it. I learned something from that experience. Whenever there's an argument between your heart and your mind, follow your heart. There are things that the heart can understand and feel that the mind cannot relate to. Maybe that's why my favorite book says, lean not unto thine own understanding, and all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. There are things that you feel, that you know in your heart of hearts, that's not logical, it's not practical, it's not realistic, but there's something in you that says, I can do this. I can do this. After facing defeats and disappointments and failures again and again and again, there's still something in you that says, I can do this. Operating out of a thinking when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because when you can look up, you can get up. I can do this. I can do this. When you present and people say, oh yes, I'd like to be a part of that. Yes, they have the personality and they need it, and they don't show up. You end up being a babysitter. You have to be a counselor and a psychologist and a minister. They challenge you to pray to Jesus and Yahweh and Melchizedek and Buddha. They'll get on your last nerve, have you chanting, Nomi Yoho Renge Kyo. It's interesting when you talk to people about securing their future, and you can't help them to become actively engaged in their own life. A friend of mine named Lorraine had me to come to do an intervention with her brother that was addicted to drugs, and he told us to get out of his house. And as we were going down the steps, I said, I'm sorry I failed. I'm so disappointed. And she said something that I'll never forget. I want you to remember. She said, Les, most people won't participate in their own rescue. Wow. Most people won't participate in their own rescue. You have a vehicle that will allow them to create their own job. You have products that people need. You have training and coaching where they'll be in business for themselves, but not by themselves. You have leadership of people who've proven that it's possible you can live your dreams. It's possible you got a shot at creating a fortune. Everybody's not going to do it. We can't predict performance. And all you are saying, hey, listen, here's an opportunity. And don't take it personal when people say no to you. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to themselves. They're saying no to living a bigger life. They're saying no to what's going on in their head because they're suffering from possibility blindness. They can't see themselves doing more. They don't want to do that extra work. So they're saving you some time. They know they're trifling and don't want to work. Don't try and convince them to say yes. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. This is hard work. H-A-R-D and H-E-A-R-T. Hard work and heart work. You got to gut this out. You've got to make know your vitamin. You've got to fail your way to success. You've got to be unstoppable. You have to operate like Willie Jolly, who said a setback is a setup for a comeback. You've got to be relentless when you're building a business. You got to be able to have courage after you face rejection and again and again and again. After somebody tell you they're going to show up and then they don't come, they don't return your calls. It takes courage to go out and start talking to people. It takes courage when creditors are breathing down your neck and family members saying, oh, there he goes again with another pyramid scheme. Am I making sense to you? What I'm doing. I didn't do this for 14 years because I didn't have the courage. I was afraid of being rejected because I don't have a college education. I had a tremendous inferiority complex. And something else. In order to make this business successful, to go from a 9 to 5 to 5 until you faint, it's a different mindset. It requires a radical change. How many of you know that it's hard building a thriving residual income on a monthly basis? Raise your hands, please. Yeah, that's why most people won't say yes. It's much easier to complain about the economy. It's much easier to complain about our elected officials. It's much easier to talk about the recession. That's much easier to come up with excuses and why you can't do it. That's where I was. That's why I set up station for a long time. My mentor said something to me, Mike Williams. I want you to write this down. He said, anybody can complain. He said, if you do what is easy, that's complaining. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. Come on now, that's strong on medicine. If you do what is easy, complain about your situation, your circumstances. If you do what is easy, stand around and be a volunteer victim like everybody else. If you do what is easy, surrender and give up on your dreams, become depressed and bitter and angry. Anybody can do that. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, keep coming back again and again and again. If you do what is hard, approaching strangers, talking to people in shopping malls, get up dressed every day, going out prospecting, knowing some way, somehow, with a spirit of expectation, somebody's out here looking for an opportunity. You can go outside right now and see some pigeons, but you're out hunting for eagles, and they're not common. And if you do that over and over and over again, somebody's going to show up. Somebody's going to say, I'm the one. Dr. Thurman, I love him so much. What a great writer. He said, there's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. And I submit to you that you invested the time and money to go to the airport, to fly cross country. I suggest to you, some of you drove here. I suggest to you, you showed up because you said, I'm going to pull my own strings. I'm going to control my own life. Nobody will ever pull my strings again. Give yourselves a round of applause.
One of the things that I love about you is that you live in my favorite place in the world, Ohio.
Oh, yes.
Because I'm an Ohio guy.
Is that right?
And I grew up in Delaware, Ohio, lived in Columbus for many years, just had my event in Columbus because I try to bring back meaning to the place that helped me so much when I was...
And it did so much for me. I went to Columbus, I was 22, and became a disc jockey there, and did that for many years. And then I evolved into a community activist and became very, very much involved in politics and ran for the Ohio legislature, was elected to 3 terms. And then my mother became ill and resigned and went back to Miami, Florida, where I'm from originally. But Columbus, I came in as a boy, but I left there as a man. I grew up. There's so many things and so many memories that helped me to become the person that I am, and the people that played a major role in my life.
Really? You're 22 when you went there, is that what you said?
Yes, yes.
And then you moved to Cleveland event later?
No. Then when after that, I was elected to the Ohio legislature, and then I went back to Miami to take care of my mother. My sister called me and said, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "What's wrong with Mama?" She said, "She has breast cancer." I'm adopted. I'm one of 7 children that she adopted. And when we were 6 weeks of age, my twin brother, I have a twin brother, my mother adopted us, and then she adopted 5 other children. So I'm one of 7. And I always say that I'm here because of 2 people. One gave me life, the other one gave me love. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother.
Wow, amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. And why did you decide to go back to be in Cleveland then? And why did you decide to go back?
No, I just went to Cleveland recently. I have investment in a daycare center there, 3. And so I went there to help to create a new type of curriculum that will help young people early on begin to develop the communication skills that I think is very important in becoming successful in life. That's major, your mindset, but also to have a value for life, that we see so much violence as children. They said over 200 acts of violence when children are raised in a culture. Wow. And the study that was done by Dr. Seligman in the book called Learned Optimism, the 26-year most exhaustive study on self-esteem, said that between the ages of 0 and 5, that we develop permanent personality characteristics that follow us for the rest of our lives. And so I wanted to develop a curriculum that would teach children that life has value and that your life has value, to change their vision of themselves and to interrupt how they see themselves based upon being in a hostile culture. This is a hostile culture for people of color. Yeah. And so to me, one of the most important things to help people to overcome the psychic disrepair is creating a curriculum early on, and what we talk to parents about, that our children are molding today what they will be in the future. When I was a kid, I was born in an abandoned building on a floor with my twin brother Wesley, and we were adopted. When I was 6 weeks of age, I was labeled educable, mentally retarded when I was in the 5th grade. They put me back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade. I failed again in the 8th grade. I have no college training. So being identified and labeled as DT, the dumb twin, it gave me a lot of things to overcome. And one of the things that Dr. Seligman said, that when you are between the ages of 0 and 5, a word is formulated in your heart. That word is yes, or that word is no. So when you're raised in poverty, that vision of yourself, that culture, those circumstances, those conversations, those things that you observe, they begin to create the lenses from which you see the world. And so to overcome that it's a major, major challenge. And so I wanted to use the things that I learned and begin to implement and integrate those into the daycare centers that we have become involved in.
That's really cool. Yeah. Well, how many daycare centers are there now?
3.
3 of them. Gotcha.
Yes.
Very cool. What do you think it is that school is missing out on in general in the U.S.? What's the main thing?
They did a study of some top achievers and successful people around the world, and they wanted to find out what was the common denominator among them that enabled them to reach their goals. And what they discovered, that 85% of them reached their goals because of their attitude, their vision about themselves, and 15% because of their aptitude. So school, as you know, has been focused on reading, writing, and arithmetic. It does not consider critical thinking and the conceptual education, and it does not help young people begin to mold a vision of themselves that will allow them to be an asset to our society rather than a liability. In fact, particularly when it comes to children of minorities, one of the things that the school systems do, they track and determine based upon the failure rates of African American children and
Really?
Latino kids in the 3rd grade. Based upon those failure rates, they determine and extrapolate from those numbers how many prisons they're going to build. So if you can track failure, you can also track success. So when you come up in an environment that is, 1, designed to destroy your sense of self, and 2, give you and provide for you an inferior education. Like when I came up in school at Booker T. Washington High School, the money that was allocated to educate kids on Miami Beach and Coral Gables versus Booker T. Washington High School, it's just tremendous difference. And when we got books, we got the old books that were 5 and 6 years old, written in, pages torn out of. And when they gave the test on the new books that we never got, and they said that we were inferior, we believed them, because the newspaper said so, and we bought that. And so one of the worst things that you can do is provide an environment and get people to buy in a lie about themselves and cause them to live a small life as opposed to a life of achievement, because the culture is designed to hold us back. When I graduated from high school, a white high school dropout had more of a chance of getting a job than a black college graduate.
Wow.
Yeah, so that kind of environment, it destroys your sense of self.
When did you start? I mean, I was, never good at reading and writing. I was held back. I was, in the special needs classes, all those things through elementary school, middle school, had a tutor all the way through high school. Always felt like I needed to.
Yeah, my mother's tutor was a good switch. She believed my subconscious mind was in my behind. Oh, yes, but go ahead, yes.
And I'm curious, when did you start to believe in yourself? Or was someone...
My mother was working for a very wealthy family. She worked for wealthy families on Miami Beach. And I remember Mrs. Sidursky. She cooked for these families, and we ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. She kept their children, and we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she worked for. And when I had the assignment of cleaning Mr. Sidursky's office and shining his shoes, and he was listening to various motivational recordings. This is reel to reel. This is before 8-track and before cassettes. And those words, I had no idea while I was shining his shoes, listening to people like Jim Rohn. When the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. People like Zig Ziglar, if you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. Listening to some of the words of Winston Churchill, the truth is incontrovertible, malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but at the end, there it is. And so I had no idea, while shining his shoes, listening to these words, that it began to restructure my vision of myself. And I had an interruption when I was in the 11th grade, because I was in special education from the 4th grade all the way to the 11th grade. And I met a gentleman by the name of Mr. Leroy Washington. I eulogized him last year. They call him the great communicator. And I was in his class waiting on another student. He said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me. And I said, I can't do that, sir. And he said, why not? I said, I'm just here to see MacArthur Stevens. I'm not one of your students. He said, go to the board and do what I'm going to give you directions anyhow. And I said, I can't, sir. And the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley is smart. He's DT. He said, what's DT? He's a dumb twin. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk. He looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And so what he did was what you do on this program every day. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. And when you have your program and your guests, and as they share ideas of how they move through the things that affect them, what you do is interrupt their story. I tell speakers, I train speakers how to discover their story, how to tell their story, and how to transform people individually and collectively by creating an experience. When I came into the speaking industry, it was based upon the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill's book was a good book, and they considered that the Bible of the motivational speaking industry. Well, I'd come to know because of my mentor, Mike Williams in Columbus, Ohio. He wrote the book called The Road to Your Best Stuff. He said, Les, if information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy.
Right.
Okay. So he said, in order to change people, you have to create a significant emotional event, that you have to interrupt a person's story that they believe about themselves with your story. And through the delivery of your story strategically, you dismantle their current belief system and inspire them to make new choices. Because at the end of a presentation, if you don't change how a person sees themselves, and if you don't expand their vision of themselves beyond their mental conditioning and their circumstances, and begin to allow them to get a larger vision of themselves and begin to ignite their spirit, you touch their hearts, and as a result, they leave your presence feeling better about themselves, but making new choices, because when you change how they see themselves, all you have to do after that is to get out of the way. The motivational industry is based upon a different type of method, like Tony, who I think is a great speaker. Tony, he trains to get people to go to a firewall, okay?
Yeah.
I'm training people to get into their greatness, to begin to develop the courage to pursue dreams beyond their comfort zones. Because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been. When you're pursuing your greatness, you don't know what your limits are, so you act like you don't have any. And one of the reasons that Booker T. Washington said, judge a person not by what they accomplish, but what they had to overcome for their accomplishment. You know, so the challenge, I mean, for instance, in me having a global voice, I remember when Tony had an infomercial sponsored by Gunther Rinker, and they spent millions of dollars. And it was a blessing for me that they rejected me, because I have the complexion of rejection. He has the complexion of connection. And so they said, oh, we don't believe a black guy can have appeal to the American public. I was so furious with that because it's called white privilege, you know. So I said, I don't have a backer. I don't have 4-color brochures. I still don't. I don't have millions of dollars backing me to develop a global voice. And Mike Williams, his goal was to train me to speak to the world. So I thought about it, and I remember something that Robert Schuller said: there's never a shortage of opportunities. It's just a shortage of thinking. And so when I saw what Tony was doing, training people to go to the back of the room and sign up for his firewalk, or all the other speakers to go back and get their products, I said, wait a minute. Impact drives income and referrals. I'm going to focus on training and developing a method and technique to transform people's lives individually and collectively, as Mr. Washington did for me. When he said to me, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me, and I said, I can't do it. And he said, don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. He interrupted my vision of myself. And as a result, my mother said sticks and stones can break your bones and words can never hurt you. That's a lie. Words can hurt you very deeply. And so, but he interrupted my vision of myself. And as a result of his example and the input, review, repetition, and reinforcement of that concept and how he held me in his eyes when he looked at me, I was able to die to who I was and depart from the story that I bought into. Even if you are told a lie, faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. You hear it often enough, it becomes your reality. Perception, not challenge, becomes real for you. And so there was no one to dispute what was said about me, and I bought it. He interrupted that vision of myself in the 11th grade. Wow. And as a result of that, I began to become a different kind of person. And so listening to these various speakers, but then because of how I was rejected by Gunther Renker and those guys, I said, I don't have millions of dollars, but I got a story. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to figure out how to transform audience. I'm going to figure out how to make myself stand out. I don't have the money to compete with them. I don't have the complexion of connection. But one of the things that Mike said to me, he said, Brownie, pay more attention to the listening than the telling. Study the audience. Conduct communications intelligence. Don't assume that you know what they want to hear. He said, never let what you want to say get in the way of what the audience needs to hear. And so that's what I focused on. I always do a needs assessment. When I'm training speakers, I tell them, don't assume you know. Each audience is a different type of personality. Each area of industry, if you want to go big, if you want to speak globally, you want to become an expert on the audience. You got to learn and you got to study them so that you can have the versatility and flexibility to speak to any type of audience with your story and be able to transform them individually and collectively. And that impact will drive your income and your requests. The average speaker get around 25 to 30 requests a year. I get over 3,000 because of using that principle. And many of the speakers that I've trained now, and some of them have passed me using the same technique and strategies and have made millions of dollars.
Amazing.
Yes.
What would you say is the vision for your life right now?
My vision, I'm in a place of the Russian author Leo Tolstoy. He said, as I face inevitable death, what in the meaning and purpose of my life that will not be undone or destroyed when I'm gone? And so the speakers that I train and the speakers that I influence and the people they train and transform their lives, that we are literally in God's pyramid, that work will not be undone or destroyed when I'm gone. And so my goal now, we learn, we earn, we pass it on. I noticed when Jim Rohn died and Zig Ziglar died, they had not trained anybody. We don't hear anything about the people that they poured into. I've got so many that can go with me toe to toe. However, I tell them, trust me on this. I said, don't let this 72 fool you. I still got the fire up in here, up in here. I taught you everything you know, not everything I know, all right?
Right.
Young brooms feet clean, but old broom know where to go. Okay. So to me, I believe we live in the greatest country in the world, bar none. We're talking about make America great again. Foolishness. We never stop being great. There's no country that can compare to us. And we have the opportunity, I believe, by multiplying voices of hope, that we can begin to create a new day. A lady came from Australia for me to train her, and she's rather wealthy. And I said, why did you come to me? And she said, I saw you speaking on YouTube in the Georgia Dome, and you were speaking to 80,000 people. She said, wow. And you spoke from your heart, and you held my attention, and I can see you were holding their attention. And she said, can you train me to tell my story from my heart? And I said, yes. And so she started to tell me a story. Wait a minute, you're scripted. I said, that's what set me apart from all the other speakers. They're scripted. If you have a script that you memorize, then you've got to to speak from your head. You've got to regurgitate that script. I said, I will train you how to speak extemporaneously so you have the versatility and flexibility to create unforgettable moments in the context of your presentation. And so we started working together. Then she stopped for a moment. I said, can you tell me why you want to do this? And she said, yes. She said, when I saw Dale and Ruth, the young white boy who went in a church and killed 9 black people, she said, I felt that there should have been someone standing to his right on trial, because he was not born with that hatred in him to kill 9 black people. Somebody poisoned his mind. And then she paused and said, and this gave me goosebumps, and we both cried. She said, I believe the world is as it is, not because a few people are violent. I believe the world is as it is because too many people are silent. And I decided that my goal is at this chapter in my life is, as I face inevitable death, which I'm believing it will be a long time from now, okay?
Yes.
I can't believe that I'm 72. I used to think people in their 40s were old. Now that I'm 72, I feel I was a waiter at the Lord's Supper. Okay? So my goal is to train others how to tell their story, how to extract their story, how to organize it, how to deliver it in a way strategically to transform audiences. And I believe by multiplying those voices, we all have an energy signature. There are certain people, when I speak, I'm going to reach them. There's some people that will hear both of us, but there are some people, because of your energy signature, that when you speak, they will hear you not just in their ears, they're going to hear you in their heart. And as a result of them being in your presence and under the influence of your voice, when they leave your presence, you will inspire them, as Mother Teresa would say, to become a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter with their lives.
Wow.
Yes. So the goal is to train up. Probably I want, if I can train 77. Mike Williams asked me, I wrote the foreword to his book, The Road to Your Best Stuff. He said, Brownie, how many Les Browns do you have? I said, I think I got 4. He said, you need more. I said, I know. 7 is my lucky number. I'm one of 7 children. I was born February the 17th. My phone number is 702. My address is 2737. Did I tell you 7 is my lucky number? Joshua marched around the walls of Jericho 7 times. Naaman dipped himself in the river Jordan 7 times. Did I tell you 7 is my lucky number? So I'm going to train 77 people to speak to the world, to transform lives, to make a difference. Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. And I believe here we are living in the greatest country in the world where people risk their lives to get here, to outswim sharks, to trying to outrun jeeps barefooted. And yet and still, last year, according to the CDC, more people, over 3,000, committed suicide than died from accidents. And these people, I believe, did that because they felt hopeless and helpless. And had they heard your voice or my voice or someone else's voice, that would have interrupted the vision of being hopeless and helpless and empowered them. I had a guy he texted me the other day. He said, I was in a very dark place and I heard your voice and it brought me out into the light. Wow. So that's what the next chapter looked at. Yes, to train 77.
I'm going to have to take that training with you.
Oh, you're great already. You know?
I appreciate it.
If I could just touch the hem of your garment, I'll be made whole.
Of course.
Yes.
Obviously impacted millions of people. You've been in this game a long time and met a lot of successful people.
52 years, over a half a century. Yes.
And I always say success leaves clues. So not only your own, but all the other super successful people. What are a few things you see in common between yourself and these people after 50 plus years?
Working on yourself. Because as Mr. Washington said to me, he said, Mr. Brown, 3 things that's very important. He said, work on your mind. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. And I developed a ritual of reading 30 to 40 pages of something positive every day. Next thing is, I write down 7 things that I am grateful for. The next thing is, I write down 7 things that I want to get out of the day. Most people, when they get up, they're focusing on getting through the day. I'm focusing on what is it that I want to get out of this day.
Controlling the day.
Yes, because if you don't have an agenda for your life, then you're part of somebody else's agenda for your life, okay? And the other thing is that you got to push yourself. You got to discipline yourself. Socrates said, the undisciplined life is an insane life.
I think that's most people too, though, sadly,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. And that's okay, because those are the people that will work for us. Those are people that I used to be a part of, the tribe of volunteer victims, because I was unemployed for a period of time, because I was undisciplined to develop myself so that I could employ myself to become unemployable and to create the kind of experience that I can become my own boss and hire other people.
And I don't want to turn this into a debate of the world, but I am fascinated on that. I feel that's getting worse and worse. Even in the last 5, 7, 8 years I've been in America and building businesses and having employees, like, what do you feel? Do you feel it's getting better or worse?
It's getting worse because of the fact that we have so many tools that will distract us. This is why they call this the distraction economy. Most people have been conditioned to be fans, to be spectators, as opposed to become players and participants in life, and thinking outside of the paradigm of artificial intelligence and the algorithms, and beginning to realize that you are a creative force, that you're made in the likeness and image of God, that you've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. And most people have given up on life and themselves and become hopeless and powerless and surrender to whatever's around them.
So that leads into the last part of today is, obviously we've come together to help a lot of these people, right?
Yes.
People that are going through this. Obviously I help them more on like the marketing, the branding, the social side. And I came to realize that I could do all of that, but if they didn't have the mindset, it was irrelevant, because you can't get them to commit, right?
Absolutely, because marketing, the first principle of marketing is move toward your strength. Find out what you're good at. Do something that's you. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also.
So coming kind of talking about taking control and kind of becoming the true self, right? I try and say, like, I think people have that potential, but sometimes it's buried below layers, right? That are laid on from society and parenting. And I would love to ask you, when you work with people, how do you peel off those layers and how do you get someone to that true self?
The best way I can explain that to you, when I train speakers, one of the things that made me stand out in the speaking industry, the majority of speakers are going around giving out information. And
I would say stand out's an understatement. You're being very modest here when you say I stand out. Became probably the greatest of all time.
Thank you so much. You're very kind. But most people just giving information. If information could change people, everybody would be skinny.
That's actually my mistake. When I started for many years teaching, educating, I would just teach tactics. But you realize they leave the conference and they forgot about it already.
No, information is not what people need now. Oliver Wendell Holmes said, once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. So I teach people how to use their story to create an experience with people individually, collectively, or large audiences. And take them to a place in themselves that they can't go by themselves. Getting them to live out of their imagination rather than their history of abuse, of setbacks, of I'm not good enough, or I can't do this. Getting them to begin to see themselves that it's already done. Several times a day I say to myself, when people call me and say, how you doing? I say repeatedly, I am cancer-free, I am debt-free, and I am drama-free. People say, you say that every time I call? I said, yes. Why? I'm programming myself. I am, most powerful statement. I am. And I'm calling forth those things that be not as though they were. I received from Cancer Centers Award of Cancer Centers of America, their Perseverance Award for a 39-year fourth-stage cancer conqueror. And so I speak and I'm calling forth those things that be not as though they were until they become a part of my reality.
I love that. And I think an important part there, as you said, you train speakers on all these things, but it extends beyond speaking, right? So like I teach some of those similar principles, not at your degree, but similar principles of when you're filming an ad, right? Or when you're trying to sell on a sales call, or when you're trying to do a new video for your landing page. Again, you're gonna, the emotion is the strongest buying power versus logic.
Yes.
And so those things carry on into like the entire part of business. Even when it's getting an employee to do what you want, you can tell them, hey, you got to go do that because I'm your boss and paying you.
Yes.
Or you can change their mindset so you never have to tell them every single day, because now they start doing it naturally.
They're at one with what you're saying, but the key to what you are doing is, and why I'm sitting here next to you, is who you are behind the words when you speak. That's the volume of your character that's speaking. There's a quote I love by Bishop T.D. Jakes, Lord, don't let my talents take me where my character can't keep me.
Yeah, like
And
that.
so people who catch the red eye and see us dressed in red, which is my favorite color as well, when I talk to you, I'm not just listening to your words. People don't buy from you, they buy into you. And so as you speak, because of who you are, because how you've made a decision, we make decisions and our decisions make us. You made a decision, whatever I do, I'm gonna do it. Take no prisoners and eat the wounded. Whatever I do, I'm going to operate out of thinking of Henry David Thoreau. Do not go where the path may lead. Go where there's no path and leave a trail. Whatever I do, I'm going to make an impact with it that will stand out and be able to hold people's attention. That's what you do. Some people come in a room. However, when Rudy comes to the room, he enters the room and everybody say, who that?
I actually learn, it's like, obviously I'm decently successful, but I always joke if I lived a parallel life again and I wasn't successful, I would just save money, buy that red coat, because everyone would think you were successful. So, and that's the power of branding too, right? So
without a question, 24/7, you say, this is Rudy, show it up. That's him. That's what caught me. I said, who is this dude in Florida? It's hotter here than in hell, and he's got on this red fur coat. Who is this dude? I got to know him.
Crazy, right? Told you, crazy.
Absolutely. Let
crazy
that mind be
together.
in you. When you let another mind be in you, it's a mind of greatness. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. And it challenges you to hold yourself to a higher standard.
Yep, love that. So just to wrap up, obviously we're here together now because my mission is to help you with what you're doing and teaching and how you've impacted people over all these years to just keep scaling that, because I think the entire world needs it, and we were sat at dinner last night talking about that, right?
Yes.
There's no one on this planet that doesn't need this, especially in this day and age. So I would love, just for my audience, because I'm going to put the links in the show notes to all we've got going on and how they can come and see you and learn from you and all the courses. But talk to them a little about how you work with speakers, you help them build a speaking career, you help them improve their confidence and mindset for success.
Well, one of the things that's very important, and you said it best, the best known will always beat the best.
Yeah.
Okay, if a tree falls in the forest, no one hears it, did it make a sound? So we represent M&M. That is the mindset and mastery.
Yep.
But that mastery of using the internet and being able to amplify your voice and your story and speak to the masses, that's key. And that's what you have mastered.
Yep.
And so that's why I have come and I'm here to touch the hem of your garment, because that's what you do. And you've done it for yourself and you've done it for others. I believe, don't let somebody teach you how to do something that they have never done.
For sure.
Yes. And so what I'm doing is teaching speakers the value of what you talk about. If you're unknown, it's best to align yourself with someone that is known.
Yep.
2, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. 3, continuously learn. Peter Drucker said we must be willing to unlearn, learn, and relearn.
Yep.
And people say, oh, you know so many quotes. How do you do that? I read.
Read a lot, yeah.
I study.
Yeah.
It's not magical.
Yeah.
And the other thing is your reference group. Mr. Washington said, practice the principle of OQP, only quality people.
Yeah.
Sidney Poitier, the Academy Award winner, he wrote a book called The Measure of a Man. And he said, when you go for a walk with someone, something happens without being spoken. He said, either you adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. So you have to ask yourself the question, as you look at your goals and dreams, what relationships do I need to step away from?
Yeah.
And ask yourself, how am I showing up in life mentally, emotionally, financially, and spiritually? Because who you run with determines who you end up with.
For sure. I shoot a lot of videos about having millionaire friends, and some people misunderstand it's not about the bank account. It's it's all the core principles that had to come together, and the discipline and the mindset and being organized and generally being a good person and having a good network that got you to that millionaire status, right? That's what I'm saying in a 60-second video, is find those people, right? And there are people with less money that have a lot of those core values, but generally people that are successful have many of the needed core values. And of course there's the opposite and where they don't as well. So, and I think for you, one thing that's important is you say you help speakers, right?
Yes.
But what I think the world, people listening don't understand is every single one of them is a speaker.
Absolutely. Because every day we're selling. We're selling
Always.
people on our knowledge, on our skills, on our business, on how we want to be treated, how we want to represent ourselves in the world. It's in the beginning was the Word. And so how you show up, when you speak, people listen to you, not just with their ears, but with their heart.
Yep.
And the kind of marketing that you do is get people to begin to go to their heart. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also.
Yeah.
And when you speak to people's hearts, if you're talking about, hey, baby, I'm interested in you, and she says, well, put a ring on it. Okay. Well, the reason she would say put a ring on it, because you have touched her heart.
Yep.
And so it's very important in this time of everything being challenged, people asking the question when they see you, who are you? What do you have? And why should I care? And can I trust you?
And there's so much noise too these days.
Yes,
right? You've got to stand out.
Right, and so they need to have time to filter through it and to see you. I have a friend who's going through a divorce right now, and I asked him what happened. He said, she never saw me. She never saw me. And so today in the distraction economy, when you show up, you want people to see you.
100%.
And I say to people who are intimidated by artificial intelligence, don't be intimidated by it. Artificial intelligence doesn't have a heart.
Yeah.
You have a heart. And so now this is the time for heart-to-heart communication.
Love that.
So that people can connect, identify with you, and relate. And now you can take them on a journey.
Yep. And that's our plan, right? Our plan, we'll put the link in the show notes of how everything, that you're going to be getting up to, everything you've already done, doing, and how we're going to be amplifying that. So I'm super excited, because I think it's so important more now than ever that you build these skills, not just the mindset, but the ability to then communicate and influence and impact other people, which is really a summary of your work, right? Is the mindset, and then how you can help others relay that.
We've gone from brick and mortar to click and order. So it's mindset, is the internet, and building communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships.